So
We
that would
should
be.
do that. Looks like everyone is
Whoop, 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 whoop.
piling in.
After party. Hey,
Hey
your
guys,
face pelt looks fantastic today, Hank.
what does?
Your face pelt, it looks fantastic today. So soft. Look at that. Doug didn't know what to think of that when I complimented you earlier today.
Y'all, if you could be, if you could just be a fly on the wall and witness some of Abby and my conversations, it honestly might scare you. I think it would generally make you laugh, but I could see where
Makes
it
us
could be slightly terrifying. I don't know. So we were
especially out of
just
context.
yeah, I love when things are completely out of context. That's one of my favorite things. I love to just say things and let people go, What is going on?" And just let it sit. That's one of my favorite things. Just
So if you were a character, would that be like your biggest trait?
oh, yes. I would be that character that just says things and lets other people be uncomfortable and then just watches them be uncomfortable. I would love that so much. I don't know if that's I don't know if that points to a character flaw in me, but whatever.
Perhaps.
Yeah.
We should ask Dawn.
Well, oh, trust me, she keeps a running log of character flaws in me. Yeah. So we were just talking right before we went live that we did not do the timer for the exercises in that one because we were afraid that YouTube was going to penalize us for the dead air of 5 minutes. And we realized that when we did this one without, like when we're doing a live premiere, it doesn't really work to have people pause the video because that throws off everything. So I think next time, my personal opinion, I want to hear yours, is that we add the timer back in, but then put some royalty free music or something YouTube won't penalize us for, and have something going. But I think we need that exercise time because it it goes too fast for one, and you want to keep the context before moving
Oh,
into the next. So what do
let's
you
turn that
guys
into a poll and see what people want. I'll make it a poll while you keep
think?
talking.
So, before we get into that, I want to give you guys a little glimpse into what's coming up next um, for our next workshops, and we curated this list specifically based on what people are searching for on Google and whatever, um, what people are looking for as far as like writing advice and how to up their craft and things like that. So this is like literally taken from what people are searching for. So the next workshop we're doing is how to start a story, and I've got descriptions on my other screen, and I forgot to pop it back up. Hold on a second. Where to go? Where to go? Okay, yeah. How to start a story, hooks, first lines, and opening scenes, uh, and how to start a story, protagonist opening beats, the entry point, um, and we hope that it solves the most common new writer paralysis. So yeah, that's we're going to start at the bottom. Like when you're thinking about writing a story, how do you start it? How do you write a first page that has people want to keep turning pages? And so this is just a glimpse into what's coming up next. How to start a story, story structure 101, protagonist readers root for, antagonist who drive the plot, round, flat, and foil characters, conflict, the engine of story, building to the climax, discovering your theme, setting and point of view, irony, and literary devices. So if you have suggestions for workshops you would like to see that would help you solve some problems that you're personally having or that sort of thing, but yeah, tell us over in Dabble U. Uh, we want to serve the needs that you have. And, we're not just making content just to be making content. We want it to serve our community and make everyone better writers and help you accomplish your goals. So if we can help you do that, we would love to hear how. So the 5-minute writing exercises, Abby gave us two options: make it pause your video now or work in music instead of. So far we're 80 to 20 work in music instead of dead air. So yeah, that was kind of the idea that we had, and
Yeah.
and we'll make that happen for the next one 2 Mondays from now. So if our next workshop is going to be how to start a story, then our fireside chat for next Monday will be us opening the conversation about how to start a story. And so Abby and I will discuss how we start a story. What's that? And I've said this a million times on podcasts that I've done, that I'm fascinated by the moment of creation for people, where the story, where that spark ignites, and at one moment there's not a story there, and the next moment there's an entire story. So what is that creative engine like? So we'll discuss that ad nauseum next Monday, and we hope you'll join us for it.
And that's a fun one. We have
Yeah.
discussed it before, and I love it. So.
Yes, absolutely. So do you guys have any questions about characters? Anything we talked about in that workshop that you'd like to discuss more? We'd love to hear from you.
Ooh, you had a line that I loved. Flat villains exist just to be in the way. I was like, oh, yeah, that's kind of true. They're just in the way. They're not
Yeah.
serving any other purpose, but just like you can't
Right.
fight
Every antagonist is an obstacle for the protagonist, but you don't want them to just be a speed bump. Like obstacles need to have a reason for being obstacles, not just a bump in the road.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that was great.
Yeah. Yeah.
And before that, you said the supporting characters make your main character more visible.
Yes.
I was like, oh. And the weird thing is, because I started writing this new book over the weekend.
Yeah.
The moment you said that, it clicked into place what I was trying to do with my main character and her mother. And I was like, oh, yeah, I'm going to do it with purpose this time.
Love it. So I began that workshop with the question, what is the last book that just completely wrecked you? And by that, I mean, was there a character that just continued to live with you after the story was over? That sometimes it's because the ending is a little open-ended, and your brain is left to kind of to keep living with these characters and seeing where they go. But sometimes it's because they had such an emotional impact on you, and maybe that's because it was a tragedy and you root for them. Maybe it's because they were a friend that you always wanted but never had, or maybe I don't know, maybe they just made you laugh like no one ever makes you laugh.
You know what one I keep thinking about whenever you ask that question? It's not the last book, though, that comes to mind. The frickin' Handmaid's Tale. Oh.
I have to admit, I've not read those, and I've only watched a little bit of the TV show.
I have not watched the TV show on purpose because the book just made me feel sick for ages. Like I was
specifically, is there anything you can point to? Like what was it about those characters?
It was this unsettling feeling of what if that was me?
That's the best kind. If you can put yourself in as a proxy, that's the best.
Mm-hmm. And that happened to me recently, actually, with a television show. And there's really, I mean, if we're talking about characters, there's a lot of crossover that you can learn from film, and novels. But I don't know if you have watched the show Margot's Got Money Troubles.
No, but I've seen it in, I think it was Amazon Prime. What?
I'm not gonna lie. I watched it because Nick Offerman is like one of my secret crushes. I absolutely adore Nick Offerman, and he was
Yeah,
nothing like Parks and Rec. Nick Offerman, by the way, this was a completely different character.
yeah,
But Margot, I felt sick to my stomach. I think it was like episode 6 out of the
yeah.
8, 6 or 7, right at the end. I literally said to my husband, I don't know that I can finish this because I feel so upset by what
Ooh,
has happened that I don't, and it's because I put myself in her shoes
ooh,
and I felt this knot while watching it. And I made myself finish it, and I'm glad I did because it resolved.
yeah.
But it was a total, I put myself in her shoes and felt uneasy. And I don't like
That's
those kind of shows, by the way, or
yeah,
books. I like comedies. I don't
yeah,
want to read because I read for escape. So I want to
yeah.
read to laugh. I don't want to read to make me feel that way. But when I do read a book or see a show that makes me feel that way, I can't shake it.
Okay, I'm glad you said that because I similarly want to escape into laughter, good times, some kind of high adventure kind of thing, and I don't necessarily want to be emotionally wrecked. But occasionally I fall into something that affects me that way, and that tends to leave a lasting impression on me.
So do
And
you
and
think it's because it's not what we normally read? Or
I
do you
don't know.
think
I don't
we
know.
can learn to transfer that?
I don't know because I've actually been thinking about that when I was writing this workshop is why did these types of characters hit me so hard? And Addie LaRue, the Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, is a book that I've talked about a lot recently that had that kind of effect on me. And it's not a happy-go-lucky book. Um, it's but man, like Addie lives right here in my head, like
Mhm.
always. And it's kind of tragic. Like it actually has a pretty good ending. Like Addie and her friend kind of turned the world upside down. But that part is not what lingers with
That's
me.
not the no.
That's not like it could have just drifted off into Addie going through her Groundhog Day kind of,
Mm,
existence, and I would have read 1,400 pages of that book. I just would have. And I wouldn't have cared if it resolved at the end. It could have just trailed off and I would have been fine. And that goes against everything that I believe as a writer. But
mhm.
I don't know. It
Okay,
just
so now I'm trying to think of what happy characters
yeah.
stick with me. Okay, the first one that popped into my mind, another television show. I swear to God, you guys, I do read books. Um, Ted Lasso.
Mm.
Now he had
Love, love, love
a
Ted Lasso.
moment of kind of darkness that he sort of touched on, and his life wasn't all happy-go-lucky.
Well, and his story began out of darkness. You
Mhm.
remember his family fell apart and he left
Yeah,
the country. Like that's dark.
yeah. Okay, because I know we're not going to answer that question right here.
Yeah.
That's something for us to keep thinking about.
Yeah.
Here's a fun character question, and I want you guys to put this in the chat. I'm always really curious about this. Um, if you had one character that was your spirit animal, what would that character be? I know who mine is. What character out there is your spirit animal? Television, movie, doesn't matter. Comic book, I don't care. Who's your spirit animal?
Forrest Gump.
Forrest Gump. That's a great one.
So, fun fact, Dawn and I got married in 1994, and we saw Forrest Gump in the theater on our honeymoon and had no clue what it was about. It was a Tom Hanks movie. It's got to be fun. And, it's like a whole cultural touchstone, that happened during our honeymoon. And so, that it's always been, you know, something that we love. And but there's something about that character. There's something about a character that just that everything about him changes the world, and he just stumbles on it and doesn't have the wherewithal to realize that he's in the middle. And I've always wondered, like, if I found myself in a in a world changing moment, would I would I would I ruin it because I was too self aware? You know,
Mm.
that there's something about being just unaware enough that you don't ruin the moment. I don't know that I can't put my finger on it, but there's, I don't know. It's just, it's something to aspire to in a weird way.
So you're saying life is like a box of
Well,
chocolates.
I mean, you never know what you're going to get, literally. Fun fact: Winston Groom wrote that novel, and I got to interview him before he died.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
yeah. Uh, and
Okay.
and by
Well,
the way,
I'll
speaking of Nick Offerman, who you
yeah.
obviously have a crush on, his book "Paddle Your Own Canoe" is a fantastic read. Fantastic. One of his other books, I didn't love as much, and I can't remember what it was, but "Paddle Your Own Canoe" is a 5-star read for me.
If you have him
Highly.
on the podcast, I will lose
I
my
have
mind.
tried. I will continue to try.
I
I
would lose my
yeah,
mind.
I try about every 6 months, so it's about time to
Do you really?
I do, I have for years.
You're gonna wear him down.
I am, that's what usually works.
Okay, I know NJ said that she wanted some help, and I'm looking to see where the first question is because she
Okay,
said, I have a main character in my sci fi that I'm struggling with, wants to ask some specific
sure,
questions. All right. I know his whole backstory, but he still feels flat when I write him, but I don't know the piece that I'm missing.
okay,
Right. So then his big hurt is when he doesn't answer a message from his mom and comes back to find her hurt, specifically brain damage from a futuristic gaming virus.
ooh,
Oh, that this causes him to search for answers. All right, let's see. All right, he is also damaged by the trauma of it. So he
okay,
used to be a prankster and a bit irresponsible with his hacking skills, but now he has to keep his broken family afloat.
okay,
His want is to find out how to reverse the brain injury and get his mom out of the institute and back to herself.
okay,
But I'm unclear what he needs aside from his best friend who keeps him from drowning in his depression.
okay,
And I think that's the oh no, that's her spirit animal. Okay.
okay.
All
I
right.
think if it were me, I'll just tell you what just off the top of my head comes to.
Okay.
Um, I would find, um, a pain point with your main character and his mother. Um, what what disappointment? How did he disappoint her? That now, when she's sort of checked out, for lack of a better term, what is his regret that he can't say he's sorry for? And let that be a driver of his character. That, you know, find something. Okay, other than the obvious, oh no, my mother's sick, I've got to save her. See if there's a tension there that's driving that.
I think if I was that character, it would be guilt.
Yeah, that's what I'm touching. Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
it's got to be a guilt driving him,
Yeah.
that he needs to say he's sorry for something, or she. I, I forget what you said. But what is it that's keep that what other than, you know, he's sad that he's, you know, his mother's sick. There, for me, there has to be a reason that's driving that he needs to get her back, because before she dies, he needs to say he's sorry. He needs to make amends.
NJ, how do you catch a gaming virus? That's what I want to know. I need to know more details about this gaming
Right.
virus. I feel like it's something that probably runs rampant through teenagers. And so I'm very
Mm,
like intrigued by how an adult
yeah.
woman catches a gaming virus in a
Yeah, and
sci-fi.
it's just like a world that what's the implant that Elon's doing on people, the
Oh, I
Cyberlink or something like that,
I don't
or
know.
whatever it's called. Is this like people have brain implants? And I don't know. That sounds sounds interesting.
Ooh. All right, let's see. We have a question from Shannon. I
Ooh,
thought I saw another one in here.
hello,
How
Shannon.
how do you add depth to characters and keep their moral compass without becoming self-righteous? I hate it when shows make a moral character do something immoral.
Mm. Well, I think every good character has to be a flawed character. When every character is a paladin, and they're just fighting for truth and justice. I mean, there's a place for that, but when you're dealing with mortal people, you know, not many of us are true paladins. I think you've got to have a flaw. You've got to have a pain point in that character. That uh, I like characters that want to do good, um, and because I just don't typically love just evil, dirty characters,
Mm,
but I like people that want to do good, even if they're not always able to. To me, that's a more realistic character, and an easier to connect with character. Like, I want to do good. I don't always succeed. Um,
but
I don't
it's
know.
interesting to see someone make a mistake.
Yes.
And
Yes.
just like be human, I think is what
Mhm.
ultimately you're getting at. Like,
Yeah.
so you can have someone who has a moral compass, but that still makes a mistake or
Right.
has an action. And this is always, I love characters that do this, that have an action that they have good intentions for, but it
Yes.
just goes wrong.
Right.
And so I think that's how you keep it from being self righteous.
Yeah. And those points of weakness or failure are when a character's character are revealed. Like,
Mhm.
how they deal with the fallout of that says a lot about a character. Do they just double down on the hurt? Do they feel guilt and shame and you try to make amends? What does your character do with that moment of weakness or failure? That will reveal so much about your character and your story.
Without having to be immoral or having them make
Exactly.
an immoral choice.
Yes. And
So,
and that's not uh your characters don't always have to make good decisions or good responses. A lot of times it's important for your character to fail, to make um poor choices, to respond poorly, um as long as they learn from it, and then that prevents the goody two shoes, or the Mary Sue syndrome, as it's called in the writing world, where someone is just perfect, and nobody likes that.
okay, so Shannon says it's almost like they are like, I can make mistakes, but you can't. If
Right.
that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Okay.
Ladies, what games are we playing?
I forgot that Bernadette and Keo are here in the chat and they'd probably be playing the games and they would be the ones to get the gaming virus. The
Right.
virus can scramble a brain and can even kill the player if it goes terribly
Ooh.
wrong. Please don't get that, Bernadette and Keo.
Ooh, that gives me a headache. I don't
Oh,
like
the
that.
lucky ones survive, but they're insane.
Ooh.
Oh, Christina wins for today. Playing the game called life.
Oh, that's so funny.
Oh,
That's so
so
funny.
good, you guys. Oh,
So funny.
so
So, I would like it if you guys would rewatch that workshop and actually pause the video on the rewatch,
Mm.
do the exercises, and then tell us in Dabble You if that was helpful for you. Would you like to see us go deeper on that? I tried to keep it um, not surface level. I tried to go a little deeper than that, but to keep it in something that you could do in an hour, and including the exercises. But we're still figuring this out. How deep do we need to go? All of that. So, and I'll pop this up one more time so you can see. Shoot. I had to stay. So you can see what's coming up next, and we'll try to go a little deeper, make it a little longer.
I
But
do
anyway,
like your shameless plug for upping your views, doubling your views. All right, everyone, get off this call and go back and watch my video again. Oh, shameless promo.
hey, you got to do what you got to
Hey,
do.
if we don't promote ourselves, who's gonna?
Who's gonna? Exactly. I
So,
mean, our beautiful
except
community.
everyone
That
here
too.
in the chat, they
Yeah.
would probably go promote us.
Right. Right.
Oh,
Well,
all
thanks for
right.
watching with us, guys.
Yeah,
Yeah.
everybody. We'll
Yeah.
do it again next week.
Yep. See you next week. Bye.
Bye.